Ethan Cole had always believed that trust was the foundation of every relationship. Maybe that's why the betrayal hit him harder than anything life had ever thrown his way. Until that moment, his life was simple: quiet mornings, predictable school days, and evenings filled with messages from his girlfriend, Ava Miller. For Ethan, those small things meant everything. But lately, those small things were disappearing. It started slowly, so slowly that Ethan almost blamed himself for imagining it. Ava used to text him good morning before he even opened his eyes. Now she replied with short, cold one-liners, often hours later. Sorry, busy. Can't talk. Homework. Later. And every time he scrolled up to see their old conversations, filled with emojis, long paragraphs, and plans for the weekend, his chest tightened. Something was wrong. Something had changed. But Ethan, being Ethan, swallowed his doubts and told himself, she's stressed. Don't overthink. He wished he had trusted his instincts instead of trusting her. The school hallways smelled like old books, perfumes that didn't mix well, and gossip that never slept. As Ethan walked through it that morning, he noticed something strange. People looking at him, then looking away when he met their eyes. Some whispered and smirked behind their lockers. He ignored it. He always ignored things that didn't feel important. But today felt different. Ava stood near the lockers, laughing loudly with someone. When Ethan walked closer, she abruptly stopped laughing, her smile fading like a sunset in seconds. Hey, Ethan said softly. Ava tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear and forced a smile. Oh, hey, babe. Her tone sounded distant, like she was greeting a stranger. Everything okay? He asked. Yeah, just tired, she said, her eyes darting to the side. To where Lena Cole, his stepsister, stood. Lena wasn't even pretending not to listen. She leaned against her locker with crossed arms, smirking the way she always did when drama was about to unfold. Ethan didn't trust Lena, and Lena didn't care enough to pretend she liked him. She had joined their family 2 years ago after her mom married Ethan's dad. Her attitude had remained the same since the first day: cold, manipulative, and always 2 steps ahead of everyone. Ava noticed Ethan staring at Lena and quickly filled the tense silence. Anyway, I should get to class. Ava walked away faster than necessary. Lena watched her go, then turned to Ethan with a raised eyebrow. You should probably stop being so clingy, she said. Ethan froze. What? Lena shrugged. Just a suggestion. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Why do you even care? I don't, Lena said with a smirk. But Ava does. The way she said it, sharp, deliberate, made Ethan's stomach twist. But he let it go. He always let things go. The day dragged on, every class feeling longer than the last. By lunchtime, Ethan's head buzzed with questions he didn't want answers to. He walked into the cafeteria searching for Ava. He spotted her at the far table, laughing, chatting, her face bright and relaxed. With Lena. The sight stopped him mid-step. They weren't usually this close. Ava and Ethan's stepsister never hung out like this. Not alone. Not in a way that looked secretive. Ava saw him approaching and tensed up instantly. Hey, Ethan said gently as he reached the table. Can I sit? Lena looked at Ava. Ava looked down. You know what? Ethan said quietly. It's fine. I'll sit somewhere else. He walked away before he could hear their whispers. But not fast enough to miss the faint sound of Lena giggling at his back. That night, Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He replayed the day like a movie scene stuck on loop. Ava's coldness. Lena's snide comments. The whispered looks in the hallway. He finally picked up his phone and opened his messages. Ethan, are we okay? Ava took a full hour to reply. Ava, yeah, just tired. Don't worry so much. But he did worry. For the first time in 2 years, he didn't feel like Ava was his safe place. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The next day after school, Ethan walked past Lena's room when he heard voices inside, muffled but unmistakable. He froze at her door, realizing the second voice belonged to Ava. His blood ran cold. He leaned slightly closer. Not enough to be heard, but enough to catch fragments of their whispers. He won't notice. He's too trusting. It's not serious. You said he wouldn't find out. Ethan's heart dropped into his stomach. Ava's voice trembled. I'm scared he's going to figure it out. Lena laughed softly. Relax. Ethan. He never pays attention. He trusts everyone. Especially you. Ethan felt his knees weaken. He stepped back quietly and walked to his room in a daze, shutting the door behind him. His hands trembled. His breathing felt heavy. And for the first time, he realized. They weren't just hiding something. They were hiding something together. A bond. A secret. A betrayal forming behind closed doors. Ethan sat on his bed and stared at nothing. His chest hurt, not the kind of hurt that fades with time, but the kind that changes you. Breaks something inside you permanently. Ava wasn't slipping away. Ava was already gone. And Lena had something to do with it. Ethan clenched his fist. He didn't know what their secret was. He didn't know how deep it went. But he knew one thing. They thought he wouldn't find out. They didn't realize Ethan had just begun paying attention. The sun had barely set when Ethan Cole realized he couldn't pretend anymore. The strange whispers, the sudden distance, the messages between Ava and Lena. Everything pointed to a truth he didn't want to face. But denial only lasts so long. Tonight, the truth would refuse to stay hidden. Ethan sat at his desk pretending to study, but the words on the page blurred together. His mind stayed glued to the fragments of conversation he'd overheard outside Lena's room. He won't notice. He trusts everyone. It's not serious. Each sentence stabbed deeper than the last. He kept telling himself he needed proof. Maybe he misheard. Maybe they were talking about someone else. Maybe Ava wasn't capable of this. But a quiet voice inside him whispered the question he'd been avoiding. What if she is? The house was unusually quiet that night. His dad worked late shifts. His stepmom had gone to visit a friend. And Lena, well, Lena was always unpredictable. Ethan stepped out of his room and walked downstairs, hoping fresh air would calm him. But halfway down the stairs, he heard it, soft laughter, familiar voices coming from the living room. He froze. Ava's laughter. Lena's too. Both together. At his house. At night. Without telling him. His heartbeat slammed in his chest as he quietly stepped closer, stopping just before the living room doorway. He peeked around the corner, and his stomach twisted instantly. Lena and Ava sat close, too close, on the couch. The TV was on, but neither of them was paying attention. Ava's hand rested on Lena's thigh casually, like she'd done it 1,000 times. Lena smirked at something Ava whispered and brushed her hair away from her face. They looked intimate, comfortable, like a secret was shared between them. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. Ava had told him she was studying tonight. Lena had told him she was going out. Yet here they were, together. And hiding. Ava suddenly stiffened, sensing someone nearby. She turned her head and saw Ethan standing there. Her smile vanished instantly. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" she asked, almost panicked. He stepped forward, voice steady only because he was holding himself together. "I live here, Ava." "Why are you here?" Lena rolled her eyes. "Relax." She came over to talk about school stuff. Ethan didn't even look at her. His eyes stayed on Ava. "Without telling me?" he asked quietly. Ava swallowed. "I didn't think it mattered." Those words hit him harder than the scene he'd just witnessed. Ethan forced a small breath. "Can I talk to you alone?" Ava hesitated. She looked at Lena first, as if asking permission. That told Ethan more than any confession ever could. Lena shrugged. "Go on. He won't understand anyway." Ava stood reluctantly and followed Ethan into the hallway. He closed the door behind them. There was silence, heavy, suffocating, full of everything unspoken. "Ava," Ethan said softly, "just tell me the truth. Is something going on between you and Lena?" Ava's eyes flickered. Fear. Guilt. Something else. "Ethan, don't make this complicated," she whispered. "Complicated?" Ethan repeated, feeling a crack form inside him. "You've been avoiding me, lying to me, spending time with my stepsister in secret. How is that not complicated?" Ava looked away. "You wouldn't understand." "Try me," he said, voice breaking slightly. Ava stayed silent. That silence said more than words could. Ethan felt something inside him collapse, but before he could ask anything else, Lena opened the living room door with a smirk. "Ava," she said, her tone dripping with possessiveness, "you don't owe him explanations. Let's just go upstairs." "Go upstairs." Ethan's stomach twisted violently. Ava's face went cold. "I'll talk to you tomorrow," she told Ethan quickly, then brushed past him. His hand instinctively reached out to stop her, but he froze before touching her. She didn't even glance back. Lena followed her, smiling at Ethan like she'd won. Ethan stood there alone, staring at the stairs where they disappeared. For several minutes, he couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. But deep down, he knew it was only the beginning. He went back to his room and sat on his bed, staring at the wall. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. The only sound was the faint hum of the AC and his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Eventually, he forced himself to stand. He needed answers. He deserved them. With quiet steps, he walked toward Lena's room. The door was slightly open. Voices drifted out, low, whispering, intimate. He shouldn't listen. He knew he shouldn't. But he did. Ava's voice trembled. What if he finds out? He looked hurt. Lena scoffed. Who cares? He's weak. He will stay quiet like he always does. Weak. The word stabbed him. Ava sighed. I didn't want to hurt him. Oh, please, Lena whispered, and Ethan heard the rustle of movement. You've already been with me for 3 months. If you cared, you would have ended things with him. 3 months. Ethan's vision blurred. Ava whispered something too soft to hear. Then Lena said something that broke him completely. You're mine, Ava. Not his. And he'll never have the courage to expose us. A giggle followed. Ava's giggle. Something inside Ethan shattered in that moment. The kind of break that could never be undone. He stepped back slowly, quietly, until he reached his room. He closed the door. Locked it. Then he let himself fall. His breaths came out shaky. His hands trembled uncontrollably. Tears burned in his eyes before he could stop them. He pressed his palms against his face, trying to silence every emotion tearing him apart. He'd been loyal. He'd been trusting. He'd been patient. And they had taken advantage of that. He cried quietly, because he didn't want them to hear, didn't want to give Lena the satisfaction of being right. But while he cried, something inside him hardened. A new voice rose inside him. A voice stronger, louder, sharper. It whispered, They think you're weak. They think you will stay silent. Prove them wrong. He wiped his tears. Took a deep breath. And for the first time in his life, Ethan Cole felt something dangerous ignite inside him. A desire for revenge. Tonight, everything fell apart. Tomorrow, he would start putting the pieces back together. His way. By Monday morning, Willow Ridge High felt different, heavier, louder, and somehow colder. News traveled fast in this town, but scandals? Scandals traveled at the speed of light. I knew the whispers about Elise and Hunter would explode eventually, but I didn't expect them to blow up this fast. The moment I stepped onto campus, the stares started. Some were curious. Some were pitying. Some were downright cruel. But all of them were watching me, Ethan Miles, the guy whose girlfriend and stepsister had quietly set fire to his entire life. I walked across the quad pretending I didn't feel dozens of eyes burning into me. My hoodie was up, backpack slung low, headphones in with no music playing. My usual armor on days when everything felt like too much. But today, even armor wasn't enough. Near the fountain, a group of juniors murmured loudly on purpose as I walked past. Did you hear? Elise was seen leaving Hunter's house Saturday night. No way. While she was dating Ethan. I mean, it is Hunter. Who wouldn't cheat with him? I clenched my jaw so tightly it hurt. Hunter Parker, golden boy, captain of the basketball team, walking ego on legs. He had girls lining up for him every day. But apparently, he wanted the one girl who wasn't available. The one girl who was supposed to be loyal to me. And the stepsister who was supposed to be family. Things got worse in first period. Mrs. Carter was trying to teach, but no one was listening. Everyone was glued to their phones. There was a kind of electric buzz crawling across the classroom, like everyone was waiting for the next episode of a drama no one asked for. Then my best friend, Jaden Morales, leaned over and whispered, Bro, don't freak out, but a TikTok just dropped. My stomach sank. What TikTok? I asked, already knowing I wouldn't like the answer. He hesitated. It's Elise. And Hunter. I didn't ask to see it. I didn't want proof. I'd seen enough in person. But the universe wasn't done punishing me. A girl 2 rows ahead gasped so loudly the whole room stopped. She turned her phone around, not at me but toward her friend, which meant I saw it anyway. There it was. A video of Elise and Hunter, whispering in a hallway, holding hands for a second too long. Not a kiss. Nothing explicit. Just enough for people to connect the dots. Enough to destroy her reputation, and mine. The caption said, Pushpin, she's not who you think she is. The comment section was blowing up. Damn, Ethan doesn't deserve this. She left him for Hunter? Elise really out here being sneaky. Bro, this is wild. Ethan should expose them. My face burned. My heart thudded like an earthquake. I wanted the earth to split open and swallow me whole. Mrs. Carter tried to restore order. Phones away now. But the video had already left the classroom and was spreading through the school like wildfire. By lunch, it had over 18,000 views. The cafeteria was chaos. People weren't even pretending to hide their curiosity anymore. Tables turned quiet when I walked by. Groups stopped mid-conversation. Some students even angled their phones to see whether I'd react. Jaden stuck close to me, like he was guarding a ticking bomb. "Ethan, man, you okay?" "No," I said honestly. "But I will be." Because somewhere deep inside me, past the anger, past the heartbreak, something else had ignited. A cold, sharp clarity. Everyone thought I'd crumble. Everyone thought I'd stay quiet. But they had no idea who I truly was. Jaden and I sat down, but before I could open my lunch, a shadow fell over our table. Hunter Parker. Great. He stood with his usual smug confidence, hands in his pockets, jaw relaxed like nothing could touch him. 2 basketball teammates flanked him for backup, of course. He couldn't breathe without an entourage. "Ethan," he said, pretending to sound sympathetic, "I just wanted to say whatever you saw the other night. It wasn't like that." Jaden scoffed. "Oh, shut up." Hunter ignored him and looked right at me. "Look, man, I didn't know Elise was still, involved with you." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean dating me?" He rubbed the back of his neck, trying to appear innocent. "Yeah, that. So what?" I asked quietly. "You thought she became single the moment you looked at her?" His smirk faltered for a split second, just enough to confirm his guilt. Typical Hunter. He never apologized. He just tried to rewrite reality to make himself look clean. "Ethan, come on," he continued. "You and Elise were already falling apart. Everyone could see it." Funny. I hadn't seen it. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Silence can cut deeper than any insult. Jaden stood up, fists tightening. "Bro, walk away before I break your nose." Hunter's teammates stepped forward. The tension snapped tight like a wire. Before anything could happen, a voice rang out sharply. "What's going on here?" It was Principal Harrison, marching through the cafeteria like a storm cloud. He stared at our table, eyes flicking between Hunter's arrogance, Jaden's temper, and my expressionless silence. "I expect all of you in my office. Now." "Great. Just what I needed, more attention." The principal separated us, Jaden and me in one room, Hunter in another. Harrison questioned us for 10 minutes, but all I heard was the pounding of my pulse. When we were finally released, Jaden let out a breath. "That dude is unbelievable. Like, actually delusional." "He's scared," I replied. Jaden blinked. "What?" "Hunter. He's scared this is going to ruin his precious reputation. He thinks I'm the problem, not him." Jaden stared at me, confused by how calm I sounded. Because inside, I wasn't calm at all. I was done hurting. Done being embarrassed. Done being the quiet kid who kept everything inside. People wanted a story? Fine. I'd give them one. After last period, I walked to my locker, and for a second, I thought the day might finally end without more drama. Wrong. Elise was waiting for me. She looked wrecked, eyes swollen, hair messed up, hands shaking. This wasn't the confident, trendy girl everyone admired. This was someone whose world was collapsing. "Ethan, please," she whispered. "We need to talk." "No," I said simply. Her lip trembled. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I never wanted the video to get out. I never wanted you to be humiliated like this." "Then you shouldn't have done it." Tears streamed down her face. "It wasn't what it looked like." "Don't lie to me," I cut in. My voice stayed level, but my chest felt like it was shattering again. She reached for my arm, but I stepped back. "I'm sorry," she said desperately. "Please, Ethan, please don't hate me." I looked at her for a long moment. "I don't hate you," I finally said. "But I don't trust you. And that's worse." Her breath broke, and I walked away. Not because I didn't care, but because if I stayed, I would have fallen apart. Outside the school, I stopped to breathe. The cool wind hit my face, grounding me. The day had been hell, but something inside me had shifted. People whispered behind me. People judged me. People watched me. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew what I was capable of. None of them knew the one thing I had kept hidden from the world. And soon, they would. Because this wasn't just a breakup. This wasn't just betrayal. This was the beginning of something much bigger. The whispers had turned into fire, and I was ready to step into the flames. The next morning, Willow Ridge High looked the same as always. Kids rushing between hallways, teachers pretending not to hate their jobs, lockers slamming like thunder. But something in the air had changed. And it wasn't just the whispers about me anymore. It was me. I walked through the front gates with a calmness that didn't belong to the old Ethan Miles. The Ethan who apologized too much, trusted too easily, and stayed quiet even when he was hurting. That Ethan had burned in the fire Elise and my stepsister lit. What rose from the ashes wasn't loud, wasn't angry, wasn't violent. It was controlled, cold, sharp. Everything a person should fear, but never sees coming. Jaden noticed it first. He walked beside me, squinting like he was staring at someone he didn't recognize. "Bro, you okay?" "Yeah," I said. He frowned. "Nah, you're different. Like different. Good." The truth was simple. I had stopped caring what people thought of me. And when you stop caring, you become dangerous. Not because you want revenge, but because you finally see everything clearly. Second period history was usually the most boring part of my day. But today it turned into a battlefield. Because Hunter walked in with his usual arrogance, but something was off. His swagger had cracks. His smile was shaky. His eyes were restless, checking every corner like the walls were closing in on him. And he avoided looking at me. Good. When he finally took his seat across the room, his phone buzzed. Loud enough for everyone around to hear. Loud enough for him to flinch. Jaden elbowed me. "You see that?" Yeah, it had begun. I didn't post anything online. I didn't send threats. I didn't expose him yet. All I did was make one move. A quiet call to a person I knew. A person no one at this school even suspected I knew. Someone who owed me a favor. Someone who knew how to dig up the truth. Someone who, unlike me, didn't care about being gentle. The result? By morning, rumors were spreading like a disease. Hunter cheated on his last girlfriend. Hunter had a fake injury to skip a test. Hunter bribed a teacher with his dad's charity money. Hunter was not the hero he pretended to be. The golden boy's shine had started to fade. And no one knew why. At lunch, things escalated. The cafeteria was louder than usual, filled with gasps, laughter, and the unmistakable noise of gossip. When I entered, heads turned, some in curiosity, some in fear. Not fear of what I'd do. Fear of what I knew. Hunter was sitting with his teammates, clearly miserable. His phone kept buzzing nonstop. His face was pale. Elise sat 2 tables away, looking like she hadn't slept at all. Her eyes were red. Her makeup was smudged. Her friends whispered around her, some comforting her, others secretly enjoying the drama. My stepsister, Lena, wasn't in school. Good. I wasn't ready to see her yet. I didn't trust myself not to go cold all over again. Jaden and I sat down, but the peace lasted about 30 seconds. Because Hunter finally snapped. He slammed his tray onto the table and stormed toward me, eyes burning with fear and rage. "You're doing this," he hissed. "I don't know how, but it's you." I didn't look up from my sandwich. "Doing what?" "The rumors. The texts. The posts." I took another bite, unbothered. "Sounds like a personal problem." "You think you're funny," he growled. "No," I said calmly. "I think you should sit down before you embarrass yourself again." That broke him. He grabbed my hoodie collar, pulling me up from my chair. Gasps echoed through the cafeteria. A teacher yelled from across the room. But I didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Didn't react. I just stared him down with the quietest expression I could muster. "You sure you want to do this here?" I said softly. My tone wasn't threatening. But somehow, it scared him more than if I'd screamed. Hunter froze. People around us started recording. And right then, right in front of everyone, Hunter slowly released my collar and stepped back like he'd suddenly realized he was holding a grenade. Jaden laughed under his breath. "Bro, he's terrified of you." He should be. Later that day, in the boys' locker room, Hunter wasn't so lucky. Because that's when the message arrived. A private video. A video of Hunter saying something awful about one of his own teammates. Something he never expected someone had recorded. A video only 2 people knew existed. Him and the person he insulted. A video that my friend had found, saved, and anonymously sent to the entire basketball team. I wasn't even there, but I heard the yelling from down the hallway. And when the locker room door burst open, one of Hunter's teammates stormed out, face red with anger. Another shouted at him. Another shoved him. Hunter stumbled out last, humiliated, betrayed, and boiling with panic. Everyone could see it now. He wasn't the popular guy. He wasn't the golden boy. He wasn't untouchable. He was cracking. And I hadn't even started yet. When school ended, Elise finally confronted me again. "Ethan, please," she begged, her voice breaking. "Stop. Whatever you're doing to him, please." I looked at her for a long moment. "You protected him," I said quietly. "Even after what you did." "I'm not protecting him," she cried. "I just don't want you to become someone you're not." "That's where you're wrong. I answered. This is who I am. You just never bothered to see it. She froze. And for once, Elise had nothing to say. I walked away, leaving her trembling in the hallway. Outside, I waited under the oak tree near the parking lot. Birds chirped. Leaves rustled. The world looked peaceful. But inside me, a storm was still gathering, because the world had seen the silent, quiet Ethan. But now, they would finally meet the real one. The one who didn't break. The one who didn't beg. The one who didn't forgive betrayal. The silent boy they ignored was the one they should have feared all along. By Friday morning, Willow Ridge High felt like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Whispers followed Hunter like shadows. Elise avoided everyone. The basketball team wanted him gone. Teachers kept giving him suspicious looks. And every time he caught sight of me, he froze, like I was holding a detonator only I could see. He was right, because today wasn't like the others. Today wasn't about rumors. Today wasn't about fear. Today wasn't about small cracks. Today was the day the truth finally came out. And the truth doesn't break quietly. It started in first period. Ms. Carter was taking attendance when the classroom door opened. Everyone turned. Even she paused mid-sentence. Lena walked in. My stepsister never came late. Never looked tired. Never looked cornered. But today, her eyes were swollen, her hair messy, her face pale. Elise trailed behind her, looking just as shaken. Ava was nowhere to be seen. Lena tried to act normal, brushing her hair back with a fake smile, but the room went silent. Too silent. People whispered. People stared. People knew something was wrong. She glanced at me. Our eyes met for 3 seconds. She looked away first. Good. By lunch, the school felt like a minefield. Hunter sat alone for the first time in years, hands shaking, eyes red, ignoring the food on his tray. No teammates. No friends. No fans. Even the girls who adored him walked past like he was invisible. Elise sat with her 2 closest friends, but she didn't eat either. She kept checking the door as if expecting someone to arrive. Lena wasn't in the cafeteria at all. Jaden leaned closer to me. You gonna do it today? I didn't answer. Because I didn't need to. I already had everything in motion. It happened in 4th period. English class. The room was quiet at first, students half asleep while Mr. Dunn explained symbolism in modern literature. The projector hummed softly. Everything felt normal, almost peaceful. Then my phone buzzed. One message. It's ready. Want me to drop it now? My pulse didn't change. My breathing stayed calm. Drop it. I locked my phone and waited. 10 seconds later, every phone in the classroom buzzed. Then buzzed again. Then again. Students frowned. Some began whispering. Others gasped. A girl covered her mouth. A boy muttered, "Bro, what the hell?" Mr. Dunn snapped, phones away. He stopped mid-sentence when he noticed nearly the entire class staring at him, not their screens. At something behind him. He turned slowly. The projector screen, which had been showing a poem, was now displaying a video. A video from Lena's bedroom. A video of Elise and Lena kissing. Touching. Whispering things the entire school could now hear. Mr. Dunn nearly fell out of his chair. Students erupted. Oh my God! Is that Elise and Lena? Isn't that Ethan's girlfriend? And his stepsister? No freaking way. This is insane. Chairs scraped. Books fell. The room descended into chaos. But I didn't move. I didn't react. I just watched the truth spread like wildfire. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. My face didn't twitch. I had already lived this betrayal once in silence. Now they got to live it publicly. Mr. Dunn scrambled to shut the projector off, but for every second he fumbled, the school absorbed another piece of the truth. By the time he finally unplugged it, the damage was permanent. Elise was crying somewhere. Lena was screaming at someone. Hunter was probably praying I didn't have something worse on him. Spoiler, I did. The Real explosion came after school. The hallway was packed, students pushing, filming, yelling, spreading rumors like oxygen. Then I heard it. There he is. I turned. Lena stormed toward me, face red, eyes blazing. Elise struggled behind her, crying and begging her to stop. You psycho! Lena screamed. You did this. You're the one who leaked it. Her voice cracked through the hallway like a gunshot. Everyone fell silent, forming a circle around us. I didn't blink. I didn't leak anything. Yes, you did, she shouted, getting in my face. You ruined us. No, I said quietly. You ruined yourselves. I just stopped protecting you. Her jaw clenched. You're dead, Ethan. She raised her hand like she wanted to slap me. But someone grabbed her wrist. Not a teacher. Not Elise. Hunter. He looked like a wreck, hair messy, eyes haunted, but his grip was firm. Lena, stop, he said weakly. She yanked her arm back. Don't touch me. I wouldn't be in this mess if you didn't. If I didn't what? Hunter snapped. If I didn't help him? If I didn't tell him what you two were doing? If I didn't warn him? Silence. The entire hallway froze. Elise's head snapped toward Hunter, eyes wide with betrayal. You told him, she whispered. You. Hunter swallowed hard. Yeah, I did. A gasp went through the crowd. Lena looked ready to explode. Why would you betray us like that? Hunter laughed, a broken, miserable sound. Because I'm done being the bad guy so you two can feel better about yourselves. The crowd exploded in whispers. Hunter was helping Ethan? No way. What is happening today? This is insane. Elise covered her face, shaking. Lena pointed at me with trembling hands. This isn't over. I swear. It is, I said. Because you can't hide behind lies anymore. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. For the first time, she looked small. Weak. Exposed. Like the truth had stripped her armor away. Elise sank to the floor crying. Lena walked away, shoving people aside, her reputation burning behind her. Hunter just stood there, staring at the ground, guilt swallowing him whole. And I just walked away. Silent. Calm. Finished. When I reached the school gate, Jaden caught up to me. That was insane, he muttered. Bro, I think you just ended 3 people in one day. I didn't answer. Because ending them was never the point. Showing the truth was. Letting them taste their own cruelty was. Letting them feel what betrayal does to a person was. Today wasn't about revenge. Today was about justice. Cold, quiet, brutal justice. And as I stepped out into the afternoon light, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. Because the truth had finally broken them. And now, it was time to rebuild myself. The weekend arrived cold and gray, the kind of weather that made the world feel slower, heavier. It matched the mood perfectly. Because after everything that happened at Willow Ridge High, the school wasn't the only place collapsing. Hunter had lost his team. Elise had lost her dignity. Lena had lost the respect she used as a weapon. But I hadn't lost anything. I had reclaimed myself. And now, the final step wasn't about destroying them. It was about leaving them behind. Saturday morning, I sat by my bedroom window, watching the neighborhood wake up. Kids rode their bikes. Neighbors cut their lawns. A dog barked down the street. Life looked normal. But the inside of my house was anything but. Downstairs, I could hear my dad yelling, really yelling, for the first time in years. At Lena. At his wife. At the truth he never expected to face. In this house? Behind my son's back? With his girlfriend. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I didn't go down. I didn't need to. This wasn't my fight anymore. Their chaos wasn't mine to clean up. Their mess wasn't my responsibility. Instead, I packed a small duffel bag, just essentials. Clothes. Toothbrush. My sketchbook. A few old photos that still meant something. And the last gift Mom had given me before she passed. A silver chain. Nothing fancy. But powerful in a way no one else could understand. I put it around my neck. Then, with a deep breath, I walked downstairs. Lena was crying. Real tears this time, not the dramatic ones she used to manipulate people. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were red. She looked nothing like the untouchable stepsister she pretended to be. Her mother was silent, hollow. My dad looked tired, older somehow. He turned the second he saw me. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I nodded once. It's okay. It wasn't your fault. I should have seen it. You couldn't have. Silence. Then Lena whispered, Ethan, please. Say something. Yell at me. Hit me. I deserve it. I looked at her for a long moment. Not with hatred. Not with anger. Just clarity. You don't deserve my anger, I said softly. You don't deserve anything from me at all. She broke then, fell to her knees like her legs gave out. Her mother tried to help her, but Lena pushed her away and covered her face. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. The old Ethan would have felt something hearing that. Pity. Sadness. Confusion. But the Ethan standing in front of her now felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. Goodbye, I said quietly and walked past them. I didn't slam the door. I didn't look back. Revenge wasn't loud. It was silent. Calm. Final. Jaden arrived 10 minutes later, pulling up in his old beat-up Honda. He leaned out the window with a grin. "You pack?" "Yeah. Good. Road trip time." He didn't ask questions. He didn't need explanations. He just understood. That's why he was my friend. We pulled out of the driveway, tires crunching over gravel, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. "Where are we going?" Jaden asked. "Anywhere," I said. "Somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one knows us." He nodded. "Bet." The radio played low music as we drove out of town. Past the school, past the diner, past everything that had suffocated me for months. Every mile we put between us and Willow Ridge felt like shedding another layer of old pain. Jaden glanced at me. "You sure you're done with them?" I looked out at the passing fields, sunlight breaking through the clouds. "Yeah," I said. "I'm done." "Good," he said. "Because honestly, you didn't break them. They broke themselves." "I just let the truth out," I said quietly. "Exactly. We drove for hours. No stress. No noise. No lies. Just the open road and the promise of something new." We eventually stopped at a small overlook, a hill that overlooked the entire valley. The air was cool. The sky was pink with sunset. It felt peaceful in a way I hadn't felt in years. Jaden sat on the hood of the car. "Bro, what now?" I took a deep breath, letting the cold air fill my lungs. "Now," I said. "I rebuild." "What does that look like?" I smiled slightly. "Better than before." He smirked. "Damn right. For a long time, we just sat there. Two friends, one car, the whole world stretching out beneath us. I thought about Elise. I thought about Lena. I thought about every moment I blamed myself when I wasn't the one who messed up. Then I thought about the truth. Revenge isn't loud. It's not screaming, fighting, destroying. Revenge is letting someone sit alone with the consequences of their own betrayal. Revenge is living better without them. Revenge is silence. Final. Cold. Unshakable. And that's exactly what I gave them. At the edge of the overlook, I closed my eyes and whispered one last thing. Not for them, but for myself. I'm done surviving. Now I'm becoming someone they can never touch again. When I opened my eyes, the world felt different. Cleaner. Brighter. Like the beginning of something new. Not the end of a story, but the start of a better one. I turned to Jaden. "Let's go," I said. "Where to?" "Forward." He grinned, turned the ignition, and the engine hummed to life. As we drove away, leaving the valley behind, I realized something. They would spend years remembering what they lost. But me? I would spend years building what I deserved. Because revenge wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my freedom.